Oh, okay. And away we go. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody in internet land. What happens in Clubhouse stays in the Clubhouse. Hello, Ghostly. Cryptid. Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing on Tuesday? We honor the sacred rule. It's a fight club. So, are the rules the same as Fight Club? No, you're not supposed to talk about the Clubhouse. Isn't it? Like, if you know about Clubhouse, you're not supposed to talk about it? Isn't that how this goes? Oh my gosh, he's actually dressed like a sensei. Yeah, I'm dressed in hyper comfy clothes right now, so... I am dressed in 100%... I'm doing cotton loose fitting clothes today, is the jam. Anyway. Alright, how's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody is doing well, but yeah, I you know, I'm embracing the sensei life, I guess, if I gotta be one. I guess I could put on the writing robe. It's essentially the same kind of jacket as the writing robe, it's just this one's softer, but that's it. Full mentor mode activated, exactly. Wizard robes, uncle, old sensei robe, yeah. That's all. Yeah, just as long as it's old. Anything that's associated with old is what we're looking for. I think this one is better, but that's just me. This one's comfier. The second, I like the color scheme and the design on the other one better. I actually like the fabric of the other one too. It's a little bit more of that kind of like yellowy 70s kind of vibe. But this one's just more comfy, which is what I need today. We're going comfort. We're going comfort vibes. Wylight, now seems an opportune time to tell you I've been promoted from screenwriter front end. Oh dear God, what have I been promoted to? Who knows? Also, why are you done with stage? Is it just that it was so exhausting you're finally done with it, or I mean sometimes you could be like one or two rough shows one or two rough shows can sometimes take the wind out of you a little bit. Nothing bad you think so low of us. If Ghostly happens to mention you, I now refer to you people as my mentor. Oh, that's very sweet of you, Ghostly. It's very, yeah, from your worm Jesus pedestal. Yeah, I sit in my throne, my throne, and underneath the last desert of Arrakis, just sitting here, walking through time and space, as worm Jesuses are wont to do, through their cellular collective memory. And people are like, what the fuck? What are you training? That is very funny. Ghostly, to be like, my mentor. And they're like, what are you... what mentoring? Like, what? Apparently mentoring isn't what it used to be. I guess, I mean, unless people think it's like... what's the term for it? Where you actually were like an understudy, you know, where you like you're training with like a electrician or like a skill. But that's not uncommon. I mean, writers. I mean, there's definitely writers who I'm pretty sure have had definitely filmmakers. I know that's commonly a thing, at least back in the old days with filmmakers, where you would have young filmmakers kind of get their start kind of being taken under the wing by a director to learn from. Ryuichi Hamaguchi, who just got the Oscar for Drive My Car a couple years ago, he was an understudy of Kiyoshi Kurosawa, so you kind of get a little bit of that kind of vibe. So it happens. It doesn't happen as often anymore, but that is a thing. That is deeply funny to me. I'm used to that term, but it's common in publishing. Most of the industry is... it's like an actual position, a mentorship, apprenticeship. That makes sense. People that don't know me have just given me a strange look and been like, nice, and decide not to question. That's appropriate. That's like half Yeah. Just accept that, Ghostly. That's just normal. That's fine. Fine. Let them guess, Ghostly. Keep them on their toes. They don't need to know. They don't need to know this weird little writing clique we got over here. They don't need to know about us. The cult of the worm Jesus. I do need to start especially now that we have so much, we're like expanding on lore. I need to do like what they do at Burning Man, where they have the not a cult thing on there to be like, we joke, we play, not an actual cult. Please, we are not a cult. There is no culting. So we're starting to get to that point. You're gaining your mysterious stranger class points. Exactly. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, you gotta have that. I said something to my mom and she got this puzzled look on her face and she was like, then, oh, the screenwriter guy? Jesus Christ, Ghostly. You're infamous. only because of you. Only because of you. No, we can't do that. Why later ruin that? That will make it worse. No. You gotta say not a cult. You gotta say not a cult. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Not a cult. What? I think you're kind of cool. There you go. But you didn't hear me say that. No, I was talking about the lore. You gotta talk about the lore. Yeah. Gotta tell you, it's like, it's lore. There's a interesting phenomenon that comes with like friend group, like in-group languages or like clubhouse languages. It actually happens in like industries too. But it like, that can actually be used as a trigger. Like, it's actually one of the methods that they use to like create familiarity, and like they kind of create their own lingo, and that's like a common thing with cults. I mean, religions do this too, but cults do it, and I always found that very interesting. So there was a trend at like Burning Man and stuff that when people would do, you would kind of like get these little art communes together, but there was always and we're not a cult, everybody. Just keep in mind, we are not a cult. No, that's all on the 3. Wait, what was that? The 30 SMT shit? Oh my god. The fact that Comic Sans is how chat is displaying is like breaking my brain right now. Exactly. But if you say it enough, that's true. That is true. Sometimes you can just keep saying it until you're like, but wait a minute. It's like a meta cult? If you say you're not a cult enough, at what point does that make you an actual cult? Yeah. That's... Buddy! Oh, the child is screaming. How is Gully missed the Wylight? Wylight's okay. Wylight's surviving. Buddy, what is going on? What? It's like howling over the water. Leto thought that was a funny thing to do, and then oops, now he has a cult for real. Yeah, that's how it happens, right? Well, yeah, he actively used it. Hey, Autumn Story. Hey, how's writing, or are we writing? Oh yeah, we're settling in right now. We haven't started writing yet. But Wylight's okay. Wylight's hanging in there. Wylight's having a time a bit, but Wylight's doing okay. Shmoo. Oh, Muppet, Shmoo is doing the yelling and you're doing internally. Yeah. Yelling yes, yeah. Well, yeah, he likes to howl at the water bowl. It's a thing. And showers. For whatever reason, he likes to sit and yell at the white walls, I guess. We're settling in. Yeah, we haven't started right. I got to do corporate work on the first stream, so I'm going to be doing that on the first stream, first sprint. We'll be doing I'll be doing corporate stuff, so I'll be on the other computer for the first sprint, and then we'll probably switch over to work on other stuff. How long do I think stream is today? Stream will probably be at least 2 sprints, but probably 3. We usually do 3. It mostly just depends. If I start to feel really crappy after 2 sprints, then we might end early. But for now, plan on 3. If I start getting winded and start feeling really not great, then it might end early. But me too. But gotcha. But not corporate work edits. Yeah, that makes sense. I had to do 80 pages today across 2 books. Good lord, Cryptid, that's a shitload. Oh, don't tell me you're getting sick. No, 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 no. This is self-induced sickness for the most part. It's just something that happens when I stress out and don't sleep and work a bunch and things happen that ends up essentially I'm forced. That's what I'm forced to take a vacation. My body forces me to take a vacation by functionally making me sick. Buddy, what? It happens occasionally. It is a thing that happens to me on occasion. Take care of yourself, pig of capitalism. That's part of the problem. Ghostly. Sometimes the plight that we all live in. Sometimes you can't shut things down because you gotta pay your rent, and sometimes that causes that you kind of gotta do things a little bit extra. I just get stubborn enough where I don't want it to affect my like writing deadlines and all the other stuff that I do film wise, and I am getting too old to be that stubborn. There are only so many hours in the day, and unfortunately, I can't sacrifice sleep hours as much as I used to. That's not any better, Wylight. Do I need to summon Opera Soria? Opera Soria is working. They're working their butt off right now, so they're not any better. Yeah, they're going through it right now. They got a lot of shit on their plate. Eduardo Francisco O'Donnell McNeil, Wylight, you take care of yourself. Yeah, we're working on it. I'm not sure if it gets better with age, but I agree. No, it gets way worse. It gets way worse, and that's part of the problem. That's part of like the usual plight of getting older. I definitely see it with cats. You can see that they get they start to become they give a lot of whoa, welcome in Spencer, LJ Spencer, welcome in, rating in, hello, the crows have come to join, welcome in. We're like we just got started, so perfect timing. We're just about to kind of get ready to start diving in on our sprints, so perfect timing. But how'd your stream go? Oh, let me shout out. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you, Tort. Tort did it. Awesome, perfect. It was like Tort is supposed to do that. It's going well. I have to do. Unfortunately, the first sprint is gonna be subsumed by doing evil corporate work. But we all know how the bills need to get paid, so I'm gonna be doing that. But then I'll be switching back over to my screenplay for the latter couple of streams. I keep saying streams, sprints for the latter sprints. But how was your stream? Hopefully the words were done, or at least progress was made. Even small amounts of progress are always progress. Always remember the stuff we do is hard, everybody. It's not easy. So be kind to yourselves. But welcome in, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I am Wylight. I generally do screenplays. I'm a filmmaker. So usually while we're on here writing, I am writing screenplays more often than not. But I do occasionally dabble in prose. I'm trying to get back into prose writing, so we're working on it. Everybody's trying to build me back. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, okay. We're the advisor. I saw the crows and it made me think that. But how? Okay. How is everything going? I know you've got like a million. You're doing like audiobooks, like reading your books too. So hopefully that is going well. I should have guessed that, with the crows. You're finally home in Ireland. Yes, congrats. I know you were going through that whole thing, I think, a few months ago. Exciting. I'm glad. I am glad. I hope it's working well for you, finally being home. But it sounds like it's good. It's exciting. Wait a minute. What did Cryptid had a thing? I know. Oh, okay. Nesting partner is older than us both. Got it. Yeah. So we're talking about the being more stubborn with age, where usually that ends up working against us. But for whatever reason, we just get more stubborn about things as we get older. And that's bad. That is bad, especially in cases for health, where it's like, because I am definitely on I will work myself. I will not sleep. I will, I'd be like, I can do everything all at once, and then things happen, and then I get like long protracted bouts of illness where I'm like, I'm a frail creature. I guess I refuse to acknowledge that I am older and or can go days without sleeping so I can get all my stuff done. So, but the truth of the matter is I am indeed older and can't do that. It's been good. Okay, the podcasts are done for the moment. Excellent. Until I get Rest of the Sci-Fi out. And now I'm writing some urban fantasy. Hell yeah, urban fantasy vampire novels. I am all here for that. That's like that. Just that vibe, that genre brings me back to my Vampire the Masquerade high school days. Urban vampire stuff, man. I'm all there for it. Super random question: where is your folk horror set? The Blue Devils folk horror ghostly? That's set in Wyoming. That's set in southern... No, actually, no, I'm sorry. It's set in Wyoming. The town it's based on is in southern Wyoming on the border between Colorado. But the script itself takes place in a made-up town in Colorado. I'm so stubborn about things. The direct parallel of a town that's probably the most that like the town, the location of where it is probably closest to like Walden, Colorado. I would say Walden is probably the biggest, like, if you were going to put it on a map somewhere, it'd be Walden. Just generally in the size, infrastructure, and that's also right on the border between Wyoming and Colorado. It's about that. But the town that it's based on is a even smaller town that's a little bit more obscure. That's about 40 minutes away from Walden, up in the mountains, called Encampment, Wyoming. I'm so stubborn about things. Yes, ask my wife. Exactly. Yeah, it's always like, yeah. It's why my cats and I are always butting heads, or my cat and I are always butting heads. Yeah. Yeah, they're just, that's how it goes. I was gonna say, do I need to get a mirror, sir? Yeah, exactly, Cryptic. Consider maybe you should drink some of that sleep. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely doing that. Yeah, I actually am taking a number of drugs. I am currently on drugs, so there's a lot there. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going to knock me out. The main character is a vampire pastor. Fuck yes. That's amazing. I'm all about that. I am 100% on board with, like, God, that reminds me of my favorite part of oh god, Midnight Mass? Yeah. Where it's a vampire all dressed up in the Catholic garb, and there's just something so deeply satisfying to me about that image. Anyway, I love it, Spencer. I love it. That sounds amazing. So you sort of match Colorado and Wyoming. Yeah, well, so the problem is when you go up, because southern Wyoming is different than northern Wyoming. So a lot of parts of Wyoming, because you're high up on the plateau, like you're essentially high up on a giant plateau coming down off the Rockies. So like it's a lot of flat, just land. There's like nothing there. It's just flat grasslands, even though you're really high elevation. But if you go south, kind of towards south and then to the west, where you kind of get more of the Rockies and more of the Continental Divide, where it's going, because that's kind of the area that I'm writing in is off the Continental Divide. It's essentially where you can walk down off the Continental Divide trail, because Walden and Encampment are stop-off spots. So those are where people come and pick up their mail. Usually they get new shoes and certain like supplies shipped to those towns. And then when we were up there, you'd always get people coming down that were hiking the divide would come down to like pick stuff up. So it's like it's a mountainy area. And so the reason why I didn't put it in Wyoming is because a lot of folks don't associate Wyoming with that kind of mountainy area, even though a lot of southern Wyoming is like that. A lot of folks kind of associate it with further north, up by like where Yellowstone and all that kind of stuff up is, and like Casper and all that. That's kind of why. But because I spent more time in Colorado too, is probably also the reason why. What I'm writing in the moment is set in 1880s Boston. I am all in on that. That sounds rad. 1880s Boston, Victorian era. The Victorian era, but on the East Coast is always fascinating to me. I'm a big fan of that. I when I was trying to run Call of Cthulhu by Gaslight, a lot of times I'll run, even though that's generally focused on like London and like the much more stereotypical famous like get Victorian like Gaslight um games, but for whatever reason I like it also keeps with like the weird Lovecraftian cosmic horror stuff to like keep it for me like on the East Coast. It feels more appropriate, and it was genuinely an interesting time on the East Coast in that period too. It doesn't get enough love. Everyone always just jumps to London, which I get, but like there's some wild stuff that happened in the Victorian period on the East Coast. I wrote a snippet on Blue Sky for FSS 365, and a friend of mine said, "What do I have to do to get you to write that novel?" And well, here it is. Exactly. Yeah, that's great. I love it. Okay, you're from the area too, so I've been learning a lot of I've been learning a lot of interesting things. Yeah. I would really like to. I'd like to deep dive like Victoria, particularly like post Civil War. Pretty much anything after the Civil War in like kind of the major commerce and industrial centers. So like obviously New York, but also kind of like on the outskirts of New York, like and up north. Boston's a good one. Places like that. So that makes sense. You probably yeah, I was like Cryptid probably knows a ton of stuff about that area back then. Catholic Vampire would be very Boston 88. Yeah, exactly, Cryptid. Your Wyomingite is showing Muppet. That's true. I can talk about Wyoming. It's because people have weird ideas about Wyoming, which are, to be fair, a lot of them are correct. There's also a lot of really weird shit up in Wyoming, like crazy, like really dystopian, like almost feels like cyberpunk shit, but like just mega rich people that nobody knows are out there. If you want to know like where a lot of like the richest of the rich people go hide, it's in, of course, the state that has like 400,000 people in it. But yeah, there's a lot of like crazy shit out in Wyoming. Well, the pastor bar is kind of complicated. Okay. OP's getting on the soapbox. Exactly. Getting onto the I almost applied to really a Patio Skunk. Also, welcome in, Patio Skunk. A writing program in Wyoming. That sounds interesting. Okay. Isn't that where Jeffree Star went? Is that where Jeffree Star went? Maybe. I do know Laramie. I mean, the University of Wyoming in Laramie's got some decent programs, but I don't know about a writing program. That's interesting. I mean, usually, no, I am the one who's like talking about Wyoming. Usually, people in the arts do not stay in Wyoming. they usually leave. They usually get the hell out. Yeah, okay, yeah. I knew a lot of people that worked in theater and tech, and some of the arts in Laramie. Yeah, if you're doing any kind of arts, you're probably in Laramie. You're probably in University of Wyoming. I was like, you're definitely. I don't think you'd be up in Casper, so. But that makes sense. Laramie's Laramie tries. Laramie definitely tries. It's still Wyoming, but it tries. Oh, you know what? That might be Montana. You might be right, Cryptid. Maybe, yeah. Aren't they the same place? Ghostly. How dare you? Although I don't. They kind of are. They are kind of like blank spots on the map. In a lot of ways, they are. There's beautiful land up there, though. If you know where you're going. Is Michigan? I know because a friend. Oh, okay. I mean, Michigan's got some cool stuff up in Michigan's gorgeous. It's just the winters up in Michigan and Wisconsin are brutal. I'm not sure I would have liked it out there. Smaller town than I ever lived in. Wyoming will give you an entirely new idea of what small town means. Also, there's like no work and everybody's poor, and because a lot of the contracts out there are oil and timber, the rents in small towns in Wyoming are obscene compared to, like, if you're just trying to get like a normal like middle wage or like like minimum wage job or like something. Essentially, if you're like a high school kid, um, you can't. There's no way you'd be able to live on your own. The how much they pay you out there. It's also Wyoming. It's a deep red state. Like all that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure it still is only using the federal minimum wage, and they underpay all their servers because of the tips. But like I mean, you'd be stuck. There's no way you could afford anything out there. It's actually why a lot of people are broke, because the rents are inflated, because you get a lot of seasonal workers that come in, and they're going to pay heavier rents because usually those guys they come in, work for maybe 4 months out of the year, and they're walking away with like 150, 160K. So you can have crazy rents that but the people in the towns cannot afford. So it actually has had a rental crisis for as long as I've known people who live out there. They struggle really badly being able to afford to live there. And it's also a playground for the rich. There's a lot of hunting clubs and massive private compounds up in Wyoming that are run by Coors. Blackwater's the big one. If you're familiar with Blackwater. Even before they became notorious during the Iraq War, Blackwater was up there, and they got massive swaths of land. But that's a private country club where a lot of people, very, very rich people, go. And the other towns are so much. The other towns are essentially these little ancient, somehow never died mining towns, or at least the one near Saratoga was an old smelting town, and they just kind of subsist. They have barely survived for 100 years of it's just watching, and the constant thing is, if you notice the political problem in every small town in Wyoming, it's how do we keep young people here, because it's just old people waiting to die. And they're old and generally angry, and there's the only businesses that exist out there are bars. You have a town of 100 people, and they have 4 bars. And it's usually a revolving who gets 86th from what bar, so it's just people on a cycle of of both being employed by the bars and being the local drunks. And it's a really strange place. And it breeds a kind of. It definitely breeds a kind of small town misery and hopelessness and nihilism that's generally what I was writing about in my folk horror movie. But yes, it's a very strange place, and I have no idea how it still survives. Nesting partner knows more than me about Boston. Okay, I spent time with further east. Oh, okay, yeah. I kind of. Ireland kind of looks like a cross between Montana and New England. I mean, Ireland always just seems so pretty to me, though. That's such crap. Who's going to pay rent that high to live in the middle of nowhere? Yeah, exactly. Yep. No, it's true. Rent where I am is as cheap as it gets because we're too far from Boston to get gentrified, thankfully. That's good. I also don't want to live in that area that is close to... Oh, the Yellowstone volcano? If that Yellowstone volcano goes, it does. I would almost rather be in the area because I do not want to live in the fallout, the fallout of what's going to happen when that thing goes. Because what is it the worst? I mean, the worst case scenarios are the ones where they're it just doesn't matter where you live. It's gonna smother the entire atmosphere in ash for decades. It just that I was yeah, I might as well just be where it's gonna go and get incinerated at that point than the long drawn out death. I'd say this is a surprising amount. There is no it's stable. It's a that's the thing that I've always heard, is that generally that super volcano will probably never have an eruption like that. But who knows? Oh, certainly it's beautiful. It is very beautiful, Spencer Arthur. It's very beautiful. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's it's one of those things that no one really knows whether it's going to or not. I mean, it probably will, but I think some things would probably have to change, geologically speaking. Will erupt one day something like 12,000 cubic miles of magma under Yellowstone. Yeah, it's got a ton of magma. It's huge. It's a massive. But there's a couple more around the world too. It's not just the Yellowstone one. There's a few of them. But it's kind of like, yeah, you do want to, because it's also like Betelgeuse or whatever, where everyone thought like gamma ray bursts were gonna like be pointed at the Earth and we are gonna get completely like obliterated or there was a possibility we would because of the funnel. It's like it's like a dual star system, and for whatever reason they think that one's gonna, like, when that one implodes, it's gonna cause a gamma ray burst, which I guess is possible, but I would doubt it. The Discovery Channel wouldn't lie to us. Next, you're gonna tell me that aliens didn't design the pyramids. Patio skunk, my God, patio skunk. This. It's like, you know what I should do is that should be my Halloween costume, is just be that guy, because he's got crazy hair, and generally, you know, I feel like I can get away with crazy hair look and just be like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. I feel like I could do that. Look, this is real history, okay? This isn't the history that the man taught us. This is like real history where people are getting answers for themselves about aliens. Thank you, Patio Skunk. I feel like perfect costume, right? Yeah. I actually shot a thing that guy was in, and his wife is his manager, and I find that deeply funny because he is just kind of like a harebrained crazy person, and so she's like just managing him around constantly. At least that's what it seemed like when he came in, because we had to set up to shoot like a little interview blurb for him. I think this was way back for, I think, History. It was History or Discovery, but it was very funny to see his wife be his manager and be like the one doing all the like the work while he just kind of wandered around aimlessly. It's very funny. Wyoming question: if you had a moment, what's your opinion on the Patty fiasco? I don't even know what that is. What is this? Oh, is it a... is it a band? Oh. Why do I not know these folks? Are they just are they like a Wyoming, like... Okay, I mean, it fits, like Americana country, yeah. I do see a lot of the bands that come in, but it is very exclusively country where I'm at. So maybe that's why I never saw them. Well, I'm going to check this out, Cryptid, because I have never heard of this band. It's got rockabilly. I'm a big rockabilly fan, so there's a little bit of rockabilly that you can get out there. But yeah, I am. There's a lot of the people who like rockabilly and like old school rock and roll kind of get run out by the crazy old country folk a little bit. At least when it comes to like doing musical shows, because those towns kind of like come to life during the summers for like the jamborees, the Fourth of July stuff. So you lived in the Blues Brothers bar. You lived in the We Got Both Country and yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, with the chicken wire. That's real. The chicken wire thing is for real, man. You get some... Although, I will say one thing about Wyoming. Wyoming is the only place, to this day, I have seen where an old drunk, and I mean like head down on the bar drunkard, who just... I mean, this guy had to have been in his 70s. It's the only time I've ever seen essentially some like college kids were in there drinking and mouthing off, and I literally watched this guy pick his head up off the bar, like drool, like spittle from passing out on the bar, walk over and flip a pool table onto those kids. Like he just like one-armed picked it up and flung it at them. I have never in my life ever seen anything like that before in my life. And he, like, no words, Didn't say a damn word. He just flung it at him. I mean, I'm pretty sure he broke one of those kids' legs. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he like practically crushed. Yeah, with one arm. That's like, because no one ever talked, and no one ever talked to that guy. He was clearly just a day drunk. He would just come in there and drink, and everyone just kind of left him alone. Yeah. And just one day I was in there with my brother, and I just watched him go over and just do that. Blew my mind. All right. Okay, we're going to run ads. We've been chatting. We have been talking it up, but it has been rejuvenating being back on stream, being able to chat with y'all. So we're going to run ads, and then we're going to dive in to our sprints and get some. But yeah, Bob's Country Bunker. Ghostly, exactly. Whole pool table. Yep. What did he drink? I mean, if he was drinking what I thought he was drinking, it's just whiskey. It's nothing but whiskey. Glad to be able to raid you. Yes, I'm glad to see you again too. It's been a while, and I'm glad everything seems to be going well, and you're back in Ireland, and hopefully home and hearth is treating you well. All right, we're gonna run ads, and then we will dive on in to our first sprint. Let us go. Go get tea. Stretch. Get water. Do your thing before we get to work. Oh, had the power. Exactly, Patty. Just got the power of wild turkey. That's what it seemed like. It was like Popeye, but with booze. It blew my mind. Still to this day, one of the wildest things I've ever seen. I mean, that guy had to have been like an old ranch hand. I mean, those, like, they're old and they're drunk. Those good old boys, but they lived hard lives. So, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. All right, should I stock up? I'm going to stock up on tea and water, and then I will come back and we can get started. Yeah, happy to be back in the saddle. Again, always glad to have everybody get. I mean, I've been sparse, so it's good to have everybody kind of back in the saddle. All right, I will be back, and we will get to the words. Yeah, yes, Ghostly. Bar people are weird. Bar people are very weird. Oh, sleepy boy. Okay, he's sleeping. Okay, are we back? We are back. All right. Yeah, I forgot to move Shmoo's little thing over here, but I might, if he gets up, he's napping right now, but. Like Ghostly was minding her own business at her favorite spot. Oh yes, I forgot that you have your like little favorite spot that's also a bar for lunch. And she got herself a cheeseburger to go, and she was leaving with it. This dude down the bar, Ghostly has exchanged zero pleasantries with, piped up and said, "You're gonna eat all that by yourself?" And Ghostly didn't know what was happening, and she said, "I certainly am," and walked away. Yeah, that also sounds like that's boys. Boy. Yep. Gotta love them. That's a sarcastic statement. I hope people realize that. But yes, that is bar boys and good old boy. Ghostly still doesn't know what he meant. What he meant by that, he's just being coy and he's starting conversation. No, he did not want to share. Well, maybe he did, but I doubt that. I doubt that was the actual unspoken thing that he wanted. The best part is Wylight. You know that man was being thought he's exactly thought he was being charming. Yeah, Ghostly. The funny thing is he doesn't realize how literally Ghostly is interpreting any of that. Just like, you're a fucking burger, man. Yeah, he's just being he thinks he's being charming. He think it's a very old time. It's like that shit. It comes from the same mentality of people being like, smile more, kind of garbage, or you're pretty when you smile, or some, like this really antiquated, old timey, moderately sexist bullshit. Even though that one feels more innocuous. He wanted to share something, but not the burger. Yeah, exactly, Cryptid. Yeah, exactly. Excuse me, sir. I was proposition. What is? I mean, yeah. Someone that was his version of breaking a conversation to probably lead into trying to proposition you. Yeah, he thought he was flirting, is what he was doing. But sometimes particularly older guys will say things like that. That I don't know if it's intentionally. I don't know if it's openly flirting. But it is a type of like engagement, which. Yeah. I do remember. Yeah, I'm having flashbacks to a guy I met on an Amtrak who got really. That might be a story. I don't know if that's an appropriate story for me to tell. Maybe not. About the strange old cowboy man on the Amtrak, but it sounds like something that he was pulling, or at least started off with. The horror. Good heavens! Why does anyone allow me out of the house? It's very funny. Ghostly, you're so Ace Spectre without even trying it, Sorrel. It's very funny. All right. We're going to dive into sprints. Happy writing, everybody. And we will catch you on the other side. Mike will be off for the sprint, as I will be doing work that y'all can't hear, unfortunately. So, all right. Happy writing, and we'll catch you on the other side. All right, everybody. That is the end of the sprint. Let me bring the music down a little bit and start the down timer. It would not mix with nail polish. Yeah, exactly, Ghostly. Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure you were getting You were definitely getting high on that, and not in a fun way. And I'm concerned that you might suffocate. Uh, did you get your suffering over? Hey, Patio Skunk. Hopefully that was a good sprint for everybody. Yeah, jiggling, doing a little dance. Yeah, this music's got a little bit of a dance going on. Um, did I get my suffering over? Are you asking me, Ghostly? Because the suffering, was it the horrors persist, but so do I. That's I don't think it ever ends. Uh, but all right, let's see here. Bum. Oh, did I? Oh, I see. Did you play your blood oath to the corporate? Got it. Oh, yeah. I think I'm done. I think I sent it off. Yes, my suffering. There's nothing but suffering. No. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's gone. Hopefully, we'll see. I mean, they could blow up my phone. But hopefully it's done, and I can do actual word writing on the next sprint for sure. You sleep deprived god. Which one? Ghostly. That's good. It's a good one. Which one? How many sleep deprived goths do we have hanging out in chat? I can't be the only one. No, Ghostly. Wylight. Oh dear. What did you make? What? Oh, is it? It can't. I'm like, what is it going to be? A marriage certificate? Or a new letter from the terrorist organization that's trying to overthrow Worm Jesus. Not me. I slept. I took your advice. Good job, Cryptid. Good job on actually. Oh, you got it. All right, let's bring up Discord. All right, what do we got here? Oh, that's cool, Ghostly. What is that? I have permission to share with the masses. Okay, I love the. Where did you get that picture from? I mean, that looks like, is that from Wyoming? It looks like it's from Wyoming. I really like the filter you used here. The kind of iris in filter is very cool. You worry about the walls, but the trees have ears. The forest is listening. Very cool. I haven't read Blue Devils, but I tried based on vibes. It's close. It's close. It's close. Yeah, I mean that is kind of the thing. It in terms of the image, it's the vibes are on point for sure. You worry about the walls, and I mean that is true. The there is a literal entity that lives in the mountain that hears all, that hears everybody. So I dig it. It looks great. I mean, visually, it looks fantastic. Visually, definitely on point. The iris in and the picture is perfect. Your synopsis was talking about the paranoia. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a big part of it. Yep. It's a form. It's a very specific form of paranoia. It's a type of paranoia that it's like less schizophrenic in the sense that like hearing voices or something's like kind of like always watching you, and more of a type of paranoia that comes from like a self-isolating, self-removal, building up walls, a kind of paranoia. It's a somewhat similar to the hedgehog's dilemma, if you've ever heard that term. To read someone's synopsis is true friendship. Agreed. Oh yeah, definitely for sure. You're an actual gift, Ghostly. Yeah, Ghostly makes the perfect posters. Like the Pond Boys posters, on point. But that is great. Yeah. Let's see. I tried. No, you did great. You did great, Ghostly. I loved it. I love it. It's perfect. It's great. It's great. Um, but yes, I don't. I think Blue Devils is definitely a script that is not a Ghostly script for sure. That one might be too intense for Ghostly to get through. Um, what horror? What horror are you gonna teach us about this time? Teach us this time. What horror am I gonna teach? There's a lot. Oh, I like the Pond Boy. Your Pond Boys posters are great. I like the Pond Boys one. I mean, the image you got of the dead fish in the pond. I mean, that literally was what I initially was going to use as the advertising poster. Was that same concept, that same image. The Hedgehog's Dilemma. The Hedgehog's Dilemma is a term in like social relations and psychology about two people when they try to get close to each other, that they poke and prod, they stab each other essentially. So it's considered the hedgehog can't ever be. It's kind of used as an allegory for being close to people or establishing a type of intimacy. Is that you can't get close to people or you just end up hurting each other. So it's used to talk about folks that can't or in a way that it's hard for you to be able to have relations. So you build up walls. That's kind of more the type of paranoia that's in Blue Devils, is a type of self-induced isolation due to both protecting yourself from pain, but also considering a type of self-loathing that expresses outwards as a type of I can only cause other people pain. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. The Lone Star poster. The Lone Star posters are great. That the one that you did, the reflection in the pool, that's like chef's kiss. That is a good one. I need to make that script better. I need to rework that script. That's probably going to be a later this year thing. I think if I can get these next two scripts out without too much time. Oh, we got ads rolling. Thank you so much, Operasoria, for ads. I do need to return to Lone Star and try to figure Lone Star out. Is this gonna get me roasted by nesting partner as bad as sea turtle parents? That's funny. Oh, yep, that is gonna get me roasted. Thank you. Oh, is it? This is really? That's a famous. I originally heard about that from Evangelion, the anime, but it's an actual term that's used, which is very funny. Oh, have you not yet taken notes? Yeah, I have not. No, the second. I'm radically rethinking just the entire metaphysics of the whole script. The whole metaphysics I have going on in that story is going to change. I have a few ideas for how I'm going to approach it, but it's going to be wildly different, I think. The first half will probably be pretty similar because it's the more grounded half of the script. But the latter half, when it gets more surreal and weird and all that kind of stuff, I'm rethinking all that stuff. So that's definitely going to change. No, Virgil's going to be largely the same kind of character. Yeah, Virgil won't change. As a person, Virgil's character will be the same. I spent the entire Princess Bride making the puddle one. Oh, that's awesome. It's my creme de la creme. that word. Well, we don't now. I don't know, Ghostly. I don't know if Virgil dies. I have yet to decide. It's we'll see when the latter half of the script comes to play and I've restructured everything. We'll find out if Virgil. Right now he's Schopenhauer's Virgil. Or not Schopenhauer, sorry, that's the philosopher. Schrodinger. It's Schrodinger Virgil. Schrodinger's Virgil. We don't know whether he's dead or alive. It's a mystery. You remember Crime? Oh, I do remember Crime Clowns. I still have that in my script database. At some point, we're going to shoot that thing when life isn't as chaotic and insane and I can actually put something together like that that's not going to break everybody. Does Virgil... I will keep this hope. I was going to say, or you kill him twice. That's true. I could kill him twice. It could be a thing that Virgil dies in every script. And it's only when it's the namesake of Virgil where it survives, like in Pawn Boys with the band the venue, the music venue. It's always named after the poor Virgils who have sacrificed. There's so many Virgils that have sacrificed themselves. The Kenny of it, yeah, exactly. It was like South Park's Kenny. Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. I think it is time to dive into another sprint. I get to actually do words on this sprint, so that's exciting. But all right, happy writing, everybody. Hot beverage. Yeah, get your teas, get your drinks, get everything ready to go, and we will dive on in. I want you to know, Mr. Light, that I went back and read the end of Lone Star for the sole purpose of reading his death, and it was. You read his death, so you went back. Or did you read the whole ending? Oh man, oh yeah. I do love the blood, the violent blood death that occurs at the end of that. That's post Virgil though. Oh, you read him dying. Oh yeah, yeah. He sacrifices himself. That was so horrible. Yeah, he sacrificed himself. He sacrificed himself to save. He just didn't realize what he was doing. That by saving his buddy, he doomed himself to death. It's the plight of violence, which is essentially what I was trying to get at with that script. His body was Demogorgon. That's true. It was. All right, everybody. We're gonna dive on in. Happy writing. We'll see you on the other side, and away we go. Oh, and I'm going to change the tunes up, so hopefully the music does not bother you, but we are going to listen to spooky tunes. Alrighty, everybody. That is the end of that sprint. Let's go ahead and bring the music down. Yeah, we got some vibes. Start the down timer. Hopefully, at least a little bit of work was done. Ding! I know the ding. Hopefully, the ding's not as. I've tried to keep it a little less. Sometimes it's very loud. So hopefully it's not super loud. Because of you, Mr. Light, I've entirely scrapped and redone my Booker chapter. Oh, it's set in Seattle now. That's cool. I'm into that. Wait, Patio's extending the break. All right, we'll add 5 minutes to the end of the break. All right. And then we will do one more sprint. I think I'm feeling good enough that we can do one more. Well, how do you feel about it, though, Ghostly? I'm excited. I'm very excited for your folk horror story, Ghostly. But how are you feeling about it? With the Booker stuff and kind of like shifting things around. Okay, you feel much better? Good. Good. I mean, I'm definitely all for you writing outside of your comfort zone. It just tonally, that was a little bit of a mismatch. But I think you could probably, you could write a hard noir that you were kind of going for. I just think you would, you might be mishmashing a little too much there, but I'm very excited to see what you do with it. It's coming along so good. I'm so proud of her. She's killing it. Excellent. Great. That's good to hear. It's very good. Very weird. Always weird is better. Weird is always good. I totally cut out the girl. It's just him in his apartment having an existential crisis. That's good. I'm always a big fan of that. I'm always a big fan of if they can just be doing their own thing and having that be miserable, then you've won. Yeah. That's somebody woke up. Stretch. Oh yeah, you just wake up. Yeah. You should go eat food. Okay. All right. He's just standing there staring at me. And he's 30 now, so it's extra icky. Good. These are good things. I decided I wanted to be entirely uncomfortable all the way. Yeah, just lean into it at that point. I would say just absolutely lean into it. That's always the right choice, Ghostly. That's the right choice every time. We're going to make this extra icky and problematic, everybody. We're just going to make it extra weird. Good. Yeah, because, see, the problem is some people are always like, I'm going to write this so it's not quite as icky, and then you're writing line, and then usually the reader's a little bit like, is this... or does the writer think this is weird? Because this feels weird. And you don't want them to be guessing. You want it to be pretty clear. Just remember, readers are jerks, so make them uncomfortable. I like that better. You know, I had a buddy of mine who was like, had that mentality with films, where it was just like, I want you to make the audience as uncomfortable as imaginable. Yeah, big fan of that. Lolita, Fight Club, etc. Exactly. Yep. I don't know how that one guy wrote Lolita, Nerves of Steel. That Lolita's a read, man. Lolita's, yeah. But, I mean, that's also it's probably why one of the greatest, like, a big, definitely up there when it comes to authors tackling that. It's also why it's the only Kubrick film I actively hate, is because I don't think Lolita works in any other format than the book. Because film is naturally objectifying. So even if you try to critique what you're objectifying, you're kind of working against yourself by default in that way. And it makes it almost impossible for you to escape the point of view of it just being naturally objectifying, because that's what cinema does. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Remember, folks, Lolita is not a romance. I think if someone came up and said Lolita's a romance, I don't. That's not a red flag. That's a get the fuck out of the bar flag. That's way more than a red flag. I guess I don't think I've ever even met anybody who has ever taken that position. I've had people that will maybe argue against my take on the movie version of Lolita, but I don't think I've ever met anyone who says that it's a romance. Maybe if you all have, I am sorry that you've encountered that person, and I hope that you gave that person a talking to. I think the only way Lolita could be in film is if we never see the girl in question. Yeah, yeah. It would have to be like a purely phantasmal thing, and at that point, it gets so abstract. You're making like an experimental film, which you could do. But I have the same argument about war films. I have the same argument about war films where there are only two films that I generally argue are like anti-war films, because war films suffer the same problem too, or because the way that cinematic language is used, it's naturally mythologizing and objectifying, and essentially you can't make an anti-war film because you're inherently going to make war look cool. It's just in the nature of the format you're telling the story. And so, like, anytime people say it's an anti-war film, you're working against yourself, because the actual way that the language of the medium that you're using is working against you in that way. And so I've only really ever seen it done well, maybe three times. There's three movies I'd probably put up that I would be okay with, but one of them's not even really a war movie. One of them's like an existential meditation on violence. And it goes out of its way to make everything look beautiful. But two movies about the actual structure of war is and what war does is, I've only ever really seen it done twice. I never read Lolita. Oh, thank you, Opresoria, for the ads. Hold on, wait, let me catch up on chat. Let me see here. I never read Lolita, but we did have to read The Lover in one of me English. Oh, I remember The Lover, yeah. It was in some list of romance novels. I was like, wait, oh my god, the kids are asleep. Are you fucking serious? Lolita was in a list of romance novels? Oh, no. That's like definitely that's how did that get in there? That's fucked up. That's like, yeah, that for me, finding Lolita in like a book of romance books is like is like finding like Mein Kampf in like a book collection of like mildly problematic but interesting ideas, and it's like, why is that in there? That shouldn't be in there at all. Yeah, that's not good. Not a fan. Maybe we maybe see shoes, a swish of hair, but never a face. Yeah, actually, that could actually be kind of interesting. You always see like the hair, the back of the head, but then you have to be very, very careful about like fetishization, because the ability of the human mind to be able to abstract sexuality is also a thing you have to be careful with. Oh god, yeah. I was gonna say, so I don't include Grave of the Fireflies because it is a war movie in a sense, but because it's about just like the fallout of what happens around the war. But Grave of the Fireflies does a great job because it's the only way that you can actively watch what it looks like to see a child starve to death, because you obviously can't do that in a real movie. So the ability for them to be able to animate that is what makes that movie so just devastating, and brutal. But I mean, Grave of the Fireflies is a masterpiece, but I wouldn't put that in a war movie category. Oh, bless your heart for not being on Book Talk. I am not on Book Talk. I don't know anything about Book Talk, so I think Tropic Thunder could bring world peace. That's about the film industry more than about anything else. Army of Shadows is a pretty unique war film. Yeah, Army of Shadows is okay. Yeah, I can see Army of Shadows working. The one that I always point to where I'm like, this is a war film. The only time I've ever seen a war film done is a movie called Come and See. It's a Russian film. And that is a movie that is about being in a war, fighting a war. It's visually stunning. It's got the best cinematography I've ever seen. And it is impossible to walk away from that film and think that war looks cool. It is one of the most haunting, emotionally disturbing, and visceral films I've ever seen, and one that they actually fucking shot blank. They shot bullets with tracers over the actors, which is insane. So leave it to the Russian filmmaking to do that, but they were actually shooting live rounds over them, which is bananas. But I highly recommend that movie. Another movie about child. It is a movie about child soldiers. I will tell you that. It is a movie about a kid who is, yeah. Just if you want to, just you can go watch a trailer. I mean, visually it's gorgeous, but you will not walk away from that movie being like, oh wow. Even though that movie says war is bad, it looks very cool. Like, I mean, Full Metal Jacket does that. Like, all these movies they have a look and a drama to them. This, like, Come and See is just the visual expression of human misery caused by warfare. Do we have time for a Hallmark tea? All right. Oh, let me start the down timer really quick since we extended our break. So we will do 5 minutes. And then we will start on the last sprint. That's madness. Ah, yes, leave it to the Russians. Yeah. Sometimes you watch some old Russian movies and you're like, Jesus. You watch like War and Peace, or even like one of my favorites, Andrei Rublev, where as much as I love that movie, it sucks because you actively see a horse die in that film because it falls off. It's during a village burning scene, and the horse, like, there's a structure, and the horse falls off the structure, and you can tell the fall kills it. Yeah, the Russians, man, they do that shit sometimes. Remind me, you all, to show the Russian Musketeers music. That sounds crazy, Cryptid. Full Metal Jacket does not make anything look cool. The problem is the beginning of Full Metal Jacket does that for me, but the second half of Full Metal Jacket is so, like, yeah, it's clearly doing an anti-war film thing, but I feel like Kubrick did anti-war better with Paths of Glory, because like the trench scenes in that, nothing is glamour. It's like, it looks, the trench sequences in that are, one, it's only the opening bits of the movie, and then the rest of it's like a courtroom drama. My problem with Full Metal Jacket is I still think cinematically it glamorizes the violence at the second half of that movie. The first half of that movie is a masterpiece. The first half of Full Metal Jacket is incredible, about the slow breaking of the human soul and spirit into just a murdering machine. But I mean, like, the end of it works. Like, the end of Full Metal Jacket works, but there's parts in that second half that just don't. I feel like he falls into the same traps that, like, that other anti-war films kind of fall into, where it's just, it just looks cinematically operatic, I should say. Like something to be like awed, the awe of war. And that's kind of something that, if you're trying to like really capture the sort of like fundamental human like tragedy of war, it's very hard to do both of those things. But that's just my take. That's just my take on Full Metal Jacket. I haven't seen it since I was younger, but two women hit me pretty hard. I don't know if I've seen the two women. The best part is it's not Russian; it's still in French. They just subbed it. Oh, that's funny. It's the most book accurate Three Musketeers. Oh my god, it's a musical. The only movie that had anything to do with war was Inglourious Bastards. Ghostly liked that one. Yeah, Inglourious Bastards is a very different thing. I wouldn't even call Inglourious Bastards a war movie. That's a pulp revenge movie with the background told in the background of a war. It's a revisionist revenge movie. Yeah, I mean, my favorite Tarantino films are all the Tarantino films. I call it his revisionist films. The Tarantino, because I'm not the biggest Quentin Tarantino fan, but his films where he specifically goes out of his way to like do a thing on history and like recontextualize it by revising history is Django Unchained, Inglorious Bastards, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And those are like, for some reason, anytime he does that and plays with history, those are like the movies that I like of his. The rest of them, I'm not super wild about, but with the exception of Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown rocks. It's a great movie. Ghostly can't watch war movies, and I mean they're oh yeah, Deer Hunter's another good one. That's I would probably put Deer Hunter in that, even though it's still a little ancillary because it's about being in a war camp, like in a prison camp, but Deer Hunter's a good one. I can't criticize Deer Hunter. That one's a good one. I would put that in movies that successfully are quote unquote anti-war, or at least examine the phenomena of war in a way that I think accurately displays human misery and the violent tragedy of war, or at least as a meditation on violence itself. You know, I didn't like the movie. I didn't like his movie about the people in the cabin in winter. Oh yeah, Hateful Eight. I was a little softer on Hateful Eight until I realized he just ripped off Dragon Inn, and like everything about Hateful Eight is just ripping. I mean, Tarantino always lifts very liberally from other movies, but like Dragon Inn, it's like the same exact story, structure and plot and breakdown, which is a old King Hu martial art movie, and I was just like, I was like, I'm done with you, and also. It initially, I thought it might have some interesting things to say about particularly trying to critique a sort of patriarchal hatred of women. Because that for a while, that's kind of how I thought that movie was essentially him showing that, or at least like examining the idea that the only, as much as like the North and South hated each other, the one thing they could agree on is how much they hated women. But if that's what he was going for, I don't think that really works that well at the end. So yeah, Hateful Eight's a mixed bag, but yeah, I'm not wild about that movie. I think it just mixes things up. The end of that movie haunts me. Yeah, the end of Deer Hunter is rough. Yeah, the ending of Deer Hunter is bad. All right, that is the end of the extended break. No, I think Tarantino just liked having one lady get punched in the face. Yeah. I think it is sometimes he lets his worst tendencies take over, and that's my problem with Tarantino. Is it's what I think all artists should do, which is do your weird and do your weird thing. But I'm not a fan of his weird thing, so probably Ghostly. Probably, yeah. Tarantino's got a little bit of those vibes, which is unfortunate. But yeah, and I even went back and tried to rewatch like Pulp Fiction and some of the bigger ones. Reservoir Dogs ages better than I thought it would, but Pulp Fiction, I really don't like Pulp Fiction. It's such, people really love that movie, and I've never really understood. Outside of, I guess, structurally it's interesting in the way that it breaks its narrative down, but it's not unique in that way. It's got some funny bits. He's definitely a talented filmmaker. I just really don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand the Pulp Fiction thing. I would have liked to see a Kevin Smith Tarantino collab. That would have been wild. I kind of like what they did with Grindhouse with Robert Rodriguez. Do your weird thing unless it's bad. I mean, you can't. That's too. I don't want to moralize or predicate. Do your weird. I think it's fine that I think every person should do their weird, and that's okay. Be weird, but you just know that not everyone's gonna like roll with it, and maybe listen to criticisms every once in a while. If someone's like, hey, your movies are kind of weird to women, it's really weird, maybe don't do that. maybe you got some shit you need to work out. But on the other side, he's got Jackie Brown, which is, Jackie Brown's a great movie, and he's definitely got a little bit of that. So it's weird. It's a weird bag. Well, his weird thing is abusive, not hands in a His weird thing is abusive, not hands in a gulper or eyeballs in a river. Oh, well, yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. I think you really have to risk it being not well received. You want to do it. I mean, that's yeah. I don't mind. I don't think you should set out to try to do something unique by being edgy. That's where like all that edgelord bullshit comes from, and usually that's just like tiresome and lame. But like, I don't think you should. I think you should be open to exploring things that might be uncomfortable. That's fine. I don't think there's a problem with that. Actually, some of the best art comes from exploring things or turning a lens on things that make people wildly uncomfortable. Um, Oftentimes as a critique of society and or the hypocrisy of society itself, but you do have to watch out because just carte blanche you do get like edge lord, which just makes you look like an angsty 12-year-old that has no idea what they're talking about. Is what you run it. And to me, Tarantino sounds like an angsty 12-year-old more often than he doesn't, which is my problem with him. I was saying a similar thing today that was like, okay, if all your movies have sexual assault, how you handle it or why you're doing it starts to be a secondary to why you keep choosing to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a big Haruki Murakami fan. I love his books. That dude's got a thing about breasts. It's weird. Like every time he goes off on it, it's on a tangent. It's clearly a thing, and that's 100% the case. You're like, dude, like, why is it every novel I read by you I have to deal with this? It's bizarre. It's clearly just you have an infatuation with them. It's not you cannot. There's no more plausible deniability. But yes, that's I agree with you. Kids are asleep. 100%. Yeah, it becomes a secondary why you keep choosing to do it. It becomes a thing. We've talked about this before on here. I think that you need to think about who exactly. Yes, who those scenes are for exactly. Because art is communication. You're always you are struggling with trying to communicate. You are trying to communicate a tone, a mood, an idea. So why are you doing it? Why are you setting this up in this way, or why are you predicating that question? It's a very strange thing to do. Uh, at that point it becomes okay. Is this? Are you doing this because now it's indulgent? Is this a fetish object? Like, what are we? What? Why is this a thing? Edgy for the sake of edgy is a problem I've had with shows that have followed. Yeah, Patio Skunk. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Patio Skunk, 100%. I mean, I'd argue that even Game of Thrones. I mean, sometimes even George R. R. Martin. I'm like, buddy, you're a 12-year-old nerd. Like, chill out. um. All of your movies have dead moms or wives, and that what's the yeah? If all your movies have dead moms or dead wives, what's the deal with that exactly? Yeah. For example, is it trying to do the rep well and honor those people, or are you just being gross and say exactly? That's the thing. Yeah. In film, we call it. Are you writing it with? It's like yeah. Are you getting off on this? Is that why? Yeah. Do a thing enough, and it's either your brand or your fetish, and like woo, maybe interrogate that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's all fetishes. It's just interrogate what it is and what you're trying to say with it. Like in terms of if you do something compulsively, if you have a style or a thing it's just sometimes those things can be problematic, and clearly it's something that you're not examining about yourself. And I get it. Like a lot of times, art is used as therapy. People do really channel their struggles and their traumas into their art, and I don't want to take that away from folks, obviously, but you do need to be careful with how you present those ideas, or you should at least be cognizant of them. Consider go to therapy, maybe. Yeah, this auto mid whack or this auto mid is whack. Sexual assault was fine, but heavens forbid the word thing. Wait, what? Oh, is the auto mod doing that? Oh God, the auto mod. All right, I've talked too long. We gotta do a sprint. Let's get to writing. Final sprint. This will be the last sprint of the evening. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. I've missed everybody, so this has been nice. All right, happy writing, and we'll see you on the other side.
right, buddy.
Hey, what are you doing? Alrighty, everybody. That is the end of our third sprint. And sadly, the final sprint of the night. But hopefully everybody was able to get a little bit of work done. Mine was mostly editing after my corporate shenanigans, but I feel pretty good. Even though I've been largely not working this week. So it was nice to get a little bit of stuff done. Just trying to clean up some stuff before I dive back into the script. Cheers, Patio Skunk! A delight as always. But with that, everybody, I have to go pick up gear and start getting everything set up for San Diego. So I will be doing that. So I am going to head out. I revised a tiny bit of this chapter 2. Every bit helps. It does. Yep. Any progress is progress. But we should be back on Thursday, as long as I'm feeling up to it. Hopefully. Hopefully I'm feeling up to it. I gotta be on my A game come Friday. So... but yeah, should be streaming on Thursday. And then, yeah, there won't be any weekend streams because I'll be working in San Diego. So, don't work too late. I'll do my best. But all right, everybody. Well, I'm going to call it there. It was an absolute blast getting to hang out with everybody again and trying to get back on some semblance of a regular schedule. So thanks for hanging with me while we slowly kind of get that stuff figured out. So, all right. Love you all. Take care of yourselves.